Every month a bunch of new games hit iOS and Android, and every month we sort through them to see which ones are worth playing. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, the 10 best new iOS and Android games of November 2018. Just a quick disclaimer, there's a lot of new games worth playing this month. This list is paid games. We're also doing a free games list, which will come out within a few days. Number 10 is Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, which very clearly labels itself as an enhanced port of the BioWare massively multiplayer online game. It was a multiplayer game that more or less was really hindered by the loss of GameSpy and had to be brought back thanks to Beamdog, who, as you know, is also in charge of having ported a lot of the Baldur's Gate stuff. They've done a great job with Neverwinter Nights. It's $9.99. It is currently out on Android, however, not iOS yet. It is also being sold as a beta, so keep that in mind, but it is a classic. Number 9 is Persephone, a puzzle game in which you actually have to die at specific strategic times in order to beat the puzzles. It's actually quite clever because through the many years we've all been conditioned to play video games, death has been kind of painted as a bad thing in a game. I can't imagine why, it's only death, but in the over 60 puzzles in this game, death plays an important role. Now this is an engaging game with very pretty graphics, and frankly, pretty much every aspect of it is great. You'll find strangely dark humor laden throughout the game as well, and this is something that really kept me hooked. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's $3.90 and it's available on iOS and Android. Number 8 is the official adaptation of Cat Lady, which is, if you're unaware, a card game in which you draft rows of cards and have to create positive environments for various cats. Now, it's not like a difficult game or anything. When I tried it out, it was actually fairly simple, but there is actually quite a large amount of depth. It's also very easy on the eyes. It's not going to blow your mind or anything, but the graphics are definitely not too cluttered or anything like that to pay attention to. It's pleasant, it's enjoyable, and if you're feeling particularly competitive, there is a global leaderboard. Cat Lady the card game is available for $1.99 on both iOS and Android. Number 7 is Sky Gamblers Storm Raiders 2, which is a really pretty dogfighting game that gives you a lot of realism for a mobile flying around game. There's tons of planes. All of them are very, very detailed, and you fly over cities that are very, well, also detailed. Like, surprisingly detailed. This is one of those games where you're like, I'm shocked that phones are at this point. There's also online co-op and competitive modes. Personally, I spent more time in the single player. Currently, it's only out on iOS, but it's $4.99. That's not bad considering how good it actually is. Number 6 is Cutchel, which is labeled as a comedy adventure game, and it's kind of a cuddly oriented, slightly dirty, but kind of cute game. And when I say dirty, I don't mean like dirty humor. I mean like the characters are kind of grimy. It definitely works to the game's advantage though. It does help maintain an environment that is funny, and the adventure game elements of it actually work really well too. It's very basic looking, but at the same time it's also very pretty looking. My main criticism isn't so much that humor is subjective, because I think a lot of people will find it funny. I was able to beat this pretty quick. It's not a long game. Beyond that, it's absolutely worth the $4.99. I really enjoyed it, and I think you will as well. Number 5 is Reversi Quest. The game is a JRPG with a tactical battle system that is based on Reversi, or Reversi. For anybody familiar with Reversi, it's actually fairly funny. The game takes place in a village on an island called Athelia Island. As if we don't know, that's an Othello reference. Technically, the game is free, but it's only the prologue that's actually free. The full game costs $4.49. It's out on both iOS and Android, and it is actually a great deal of fun. It's a great strategy RPG, and I'm definitely going to be trying to beat this one. I enjoy it. Number 4 is Black Paradox, and if you have been looking for a side-scrolling roguelite shooter, this is it. This is the game to play because it is so good. I enjoy the hell out of this, and not just because it's aesthetically pleasing, though it is, looks gorgeous, great color palette, great pixel art, wonderful music. It's really, really well made. I enjoy the hell out of how this game plays. It's got a spaceship growth system that is not too in-depth, but just in-depth enough. The pacing is nice and quick. I didn't use a controller, but apparently it is supported by a large amount of controllers. And honestly, it just sets itself apart by pretty much any measure. I could easily see myself coming back to this over and over and over. Number 3 is Into the Dark Narracan, which is a game that sort of blends sort of a turn-based tactics type movement and strategy to a more puzzle oriented / world exploration oriented retro styled game. It's very minimalist, so if you don't like that art style, you're probably not gonna like this, but if you can handle that sort of thing, it's probably one of the better examples of this type of game. It's one of those games where it combines a lot of things to create something that is definitely a new experience, and it's got such a unique look to it, you're going to remember it, and that's great. Into the Dark is $3.99, it's available on iOS, and I do think it is worth your time for sure. Number 2 is Teslagrad, a puzzle platformer with some really pretty handmade animated graphics that really pop and make you feel a lot like you're watching kind of a version of modern 2D animation. I'm not going to say it compares with Disney or anything, but it is certainly pleasing to the eye with a lovely color palette and great animation. What makes the game interesting is the various power-ups you get that essentially direct the puzzles of the game. It's paced really well, and considering it's a Metroidvania, that's always a good thing. Teslagrad is out on iOS and Android for $4.99. It's very good. And finally, number 1 is Kingdom Rush Vengeance, which is actually a really good, pretty much traditional tower defense game. Now I say pretty much traditional because there is a lot of basically classic tower defense gameplay, and it just really nails it. It does it really well. And it doesn't lock you into your own solitary world. You can play it online. You can play it offline. It's got great visually distinctive graphics as well, which is often a problem with tower defense games. And on the flip side, the remedy is often to go too visually distinct. It doesn't do that either. Basically, the graphics aren't annoying, but at the same time, they're distinctive. More or less, it's a game where they pretty much just get the genre really well and have produced probably the best example of it. Kingdom Rush Vengeance is phenomenal. It's $4.99, and it's available on both iOS and Android. Couple of quick bonus games for you. First is Spit Kiss, which is a one-finger platformer. It's actually really good as far as how that platforming works. You wouldn't expect the controls to be as intuitive as they are, and it's goofy as hell. I would describe it as a swipe to jump game that manages a lot of the conventions of platforming with a very limited control scheme and does it very well. And finally, the 1964 children's book Storm Boy has been adapted into a very pretty game. It is a different story-oriented game, and I enjoyed it. I don't think that everyone will enjoy it, but I did enjoy it. It's pretty, it manages a lot of interesting ideas at once, and it's $2.99 on iOS and Android. Did you play any of these games? Do you plan on playing any of these games? Leave us a comment, tell us what you think, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and do not forget to click the notification bell. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on Game Ranks.